Hi there and welcome to Mark Vajeski YouTube channel. What a beautiful day it is today, and today I want to share with you something that over the past 13 years I've been working with many different types of spiritual tools that have helped people along a journey when they've come to me and said, Mark, I think there's a problem in my house. Okay, so I found that really fascinating, and I said, okay, well, when I first started, I said, well, I can't guarantee anything, but what I can do is come into the house and I'll just feel. There's been many a year that I've gone into houses and said, look, sorry, but there's nothing here. I don't feel anything wrong. And a lot of the times that's because people carry a negative energy with them, and they sometimes kind of think that it's something else, but it's actually within themselves. But it's good for me to go and see. One of the things when I worked with Reg Lenny was really important for me, and it was what I found that when I was helping people on a one-to-one, and after I'd finished, after a couple of hours, they'd had a psychic and spiritual read, they'd had a lay down, they had a full hour session, they felt amazing, they were a new person, and then a few weeks later they'd feel bad again. And I thought, what's going wrong? And I picked up when I worked with Reg that one of the most powerful things he ever did was walk into somebody's house and go through their fridge and say, rubbish, junk, how on earth am I able to help you? As if you come to me and then go home and then start eating rubbish again. Wow, that made so much sense. So what I needed to do then is say, you know what, I'll come to your house, I'll have a feel, see what it feels like. And sure enough, there were many times that within the house there was a negative energy in the walls, in the furniture, just around, felt really heavy and dense, or a certain room would feel heavy. Now, there's many reasons for that. It could be because of arguments, because of past relationships. It could have been that the old owners did bad things, and then it could be that there's spirit trapped in between two worlds. There's so many reasons why. But one of the reasons why I'm making this video is to say one of the things that really helped me along a journey when I went into people's homes or businesses or corporate companies, big buildings, was the 4 crystal energy cleanser. And it just came to me one day that I realized that if I could charge and work on 4 crystals and put a lot of energy into them in a certain way, that if I then brought these crystals with me and laid them in 4 corners of a room, it would charge the room all the time. And thus I created this amazing 4 crystal energy that really started to make a difference. So basically what I use are pointers, or you could call them pyramids. I remember one house I went to, and I had no idea why, but I'd picked up, this was when I first started, I always remember this story, it was beautiful. I remember I picked up 3, not 4, this was 3. I picked up 3 hearts, and they were rose quartz. I normally like working either with rose quartz, tiger's eye, or amethyst. Don't know why, but they're the ones that I really work with, and they feel beautiful. So I remember picking up these 3 rose quartz hearts, and I went to the house and I had a little it's like a doctor's do you remember in the old days the doctors used to hold these little cases? Well, I got one of them, and I used to put all my shamanic tools in there. So as I took them out, I took these 3 hearts out and laid them on the table, thinking I'm going to put these hearts somewhere. And the woman walked over and burst into tears. And she says, now I know you're the person. And I said, what do you mean? She says, I dreamt last night of 3 hearts in pink. And she said, they're there. And I just, I started filling up too, and I thought, wow, that's beautiful. So that was really beautiful confirmation. But this is what I work with now, and this is how I've always worked with when I do a house cleansing, and I'm sharing this with you because you can do this. So These are what I offer on my website, but you can charge them yourself, okay? I work with them specifically on a certain reason. There's certain reasons why I work with crystals and then lay them in the house. So it could be that anyway, it doesn't matter. You can charge them yourself. So you just go to a crystal shop, get yourself 4 of these, and then sit when you're at the most happiest and strongest and charge them. So you might have to sit for maybe 2 or 3 or 4 hours and give yourself breaks. Don't push yourself, okay? Do it when you're the happiest. Do you know, sometimes even if you're doing something that makes you really happy, take one of the crystals with you while you're doing it, and because you're charging them, you're putting good energy into them. And don't ever doubt your power, okay? Don't doubt yourself. Okay, so when you're happiest, you work with the crystals. This is what I do. So after maybe 20 hours of working with each one of these crystals, they're now ready. So what you do then is you find 4 corners of the house. The best way I feel is to go to the lowest part of the ground. Therefore, the energy rises like smoke. So same with energy from a crystal. So you find the corners of the house. So if the house is like this, you can use them from room to room. If you can afford, then, you know, like I have crystals in all 4 corners here, and all 4 corners there, and all 4 corners there. So it depends how far you want to take this. Some people just say, you know what, I do it 4 corners of the house on the lower ground. You place them there and let them do their work. And it's that simple. Sometimes people say I'd like to charge one room more than the other, so they'll place on all 4 corners of the house, then they will buy another 3 more because you've already got one in one corner, or if you're doing separate rooms, you buy 4 more and do the same. So put them to the floor, always good to as low as you can get them on the floor, and then right in the corner. And that's what I do. If you can't do that, then, you know, put your crystal and raise it a little bit and find a table or something, but that's okay. But for full effect, right in the corners they work, okay? Now, it is important to always remember when our clothes are dirty, we wash them. Crystals are the same. It's good to energize crystals. It's good to give them fresh energy because they're living, beautiful creatures as far as I'm concerned. So again, when you're feeling happy, when you're feeling strong, take the crystals, put them in your hand. If the sun's out and it's shining, put them in the sun, or just get some sea salt in water and lay them in there for a day and then take them out, hold them in your hand again when you're feeling happy, charge them, put good energy into them, put good thoughts into them, good feelings, and that's it, put them back. You'll know when to do it, okay? Because all of a sudden you'll have a thought, oh my God, my crystals, I think I need to charge them. Good, you're listening. Or your crystals are speaking to you. That's how it works. My website contains these crystals specifically for certain reasons. So if you go onto Pure Energy, onto my website and then click on where it says House Crystals or House Cleansing Energy Crystals, you can scroll down and see how I've worked with them and what they are actually for, okay? Because some houses or some people in the house have an energy of very low depression, sadness, anger, bitterness, and then some houses have different energies from other for other reasons, of course. I'm going to tell you a story before I go, okay? Put these back. Okay, you ready? Some years ago when I was younger, I was married to my first wife, and I remember we bought our biggest house, and we just had our little baby boy. And I remember opening the back door and looking out, and I could see the grass, but there was a burn mark in the grass. And I shouted and I said, why on earth would somebody burn the grass when it's so beautiful all the way around? Why would somebody put a fire in there? What silly people? And then I heard, hello, and I looked, and it was a next door neighbour. and their house was lower than ours. And I could see this little old lady peeping over, and I said, "Hi." She says, "Are you the new neighbours?" I says, "I am. My name's Mark." She says, "Are you married? And have you got children?" And I said, yes, and we've just had a little baby boy." She went, "Oh dear." I went, "Sorry?" She went, "Oh dear." And I said, "What's wrong?" And she says, "Well, you know the burn mark that you're talking about on the grass?" I went, "Yes." She said that was when, I think it was either the wife or the husband had found that their partner was cheating, and they threw all the clothes out and burnt them. I went, "Oh dear." I said, "No, I didn't know that." She said, "Yes." And she says, "And the thing is, everybody who's lived in that house were married with children, and then soon as they moved in, after such a length of time, split up." And I went, "Oh, well, you don't need to worry about that, but, that's, and I never even thought about it after that. As the weeks passed by living in that house, for some reason, I found me and my wife then she was going upstairs and I was going downstairs, and we were, without even realising, separating our energy. We were upstairs and downstairs. We weren't communicating. We weren't sitting together. We weren't talking it was really bizarre. And then we ended up splitting up for one reason or another. I look back on that moment and I realise now, after working in this field of work, what happened. My belief is that whoever was in that house, meaning spirit trapped in between two worlds, whatever had happened to that woman or man wasn't happy with anybody who moved into that house as a family who was happy. So what they was doing was influencing us to separate ourselves. I don't think I've really talked about this too much, but I actually really truly believe that sometimes you can have bad influences through spirit trapped in between two worlds, and it happens. It's very rare, but it happens. And I am not saying that that was the reason why me and my ex-wife split. I'm just saying it could have been part of the cause. And you might think this is crazy, and hey, I'm holding my hands up. I wasn't a perfect husband. I did my best, but I wasn't perfect, and I've always shared that with you. And I learned a lot from that relationship to take it to the next relationship, just as I learned a lot from this last relationship, and I take to my next relationship. That's life, guys. But sometimes, just sometimes, it's out of our hands, and some things that we don't see, we are influenced over. So this is the reason why I'm sharing this story with you, is because the reason why I sometimes energize these crystals in a certain way is just for that reason. That's what makes my crystals different from you just buying a crystal. That's it, really. I'm not plugging my crystals as the website shop, but I am saying that I do work, and I have worked for 13 years with crystals, and I know how to charge them in a certain way, and that's the difference. And that's it, really. Yeah, it's funny how these things happen to us, and over the 13 years I've seen this many times, but that's because it was my work, so I would go into thousands of houses and feel things. So it's different from you. You might only live in 1 or 2 or 3 houses in your whole life, so I'm bound to see and feel more than you. So that's the difference. Okay, that's it then, guys. I'll leave a link at the bottom of this video if you choose to have a look at the crystals and see if you decide you want to buy some of my sets that I work with. They're there because I often get messages afterwards and I don't really have time to answer them. So I'll leave a link there for you to look at, and just when you do look at them, read the text and see if it feels right. If it feels right and it jumps out of you, then that I would say, that's the time when, the crystal should choose you. That's what I'm saying. And that's it, really. Have a great day, guys. It's been a blast. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Grab this. Informative at the moment, right?